You are listening to the Day by Day podcast for the 4th week of February, 2016. Welcome to the Day by Day podcast with me, Siobhan. This week we're talking about an ancient observance and a lot of thinking. Now let's get started. It's National Engineers Week. This celebration was started in 1951 by the National Society of Professional Engineers. The NSPE was established in 1934 with several goals, one of those being to build public recognition for the profession of engineering. Engineers Week, or E-Week as the NSPE calls it, brings engineering to the public's attention and is dedicated to ensuring a diverse and well-educated workforce for the future. This is accomplished by increasing understanding and interest in engineering and technology careers through various events throughout the week and across the nation. This year's theme is Engineers Make a World of Difference. Discover Engineering Family Day is on Saturday, February 27th at the National Building Museum in Washington, D.C. There will be dozens of hands-on activities that will help children experience the excitement of engineering. You can learn more about Family Day at engineeringfamilyday.org. The Hawaii Council of Engineering Societies is backing many events throughout the week, including a luncheon on February 23rd. These are just a couple of events across the country. To find out about events close to you, you can contact your local engineering society or visit nspe.org. Engineers have made an enormous impact throughout American history, beginning with George Washington, which is why National Engineers Week falls annually on the week of his birthday being February 22nd. Besides being the nation's first president and commander of the Continental Army, Washington was a surveyor. He earned his surveyor's license at the age of 17 and became official surveyor of Culpeper County, Virginia. Some other notable American engineers include Edwin Armstrong, who was an American electrical engineer and inventor who is responsible for the development of frequency modulation, or FM radio transmission. He's also known for superheterodyning and regeneration, both used in radio transmission. Armstrong has been called the most prolific and influential inventor in radio history, and we can thank him for the fact that I have this simple podcast today. Robert Goddard was an engineer, professor, physicist, and inventor who created, then built, the world's first liquid-fueled rocket, which he successfully launched in 1926. As you can see, the field of engineering has been dominated by men. Part of National Engineers Week is Introduce a Girl to Engineering Day, this Thursday, February 25th. Girl Day, as it is known, is a special day that has been celebrated for the last 15 years to introduce girls to engineering. If you want to get involved in Girl Day, visit discover.org. Of course, there have been women engineers who have made their own mark, one of those being Edith Clark, who was an electrical engineer, and the first woman to earn an engineering degree from MIT and the first female professor at the University of Texas at Austin. In her spare time, she invented the Clark calculator. It solved equations involving electric current, voltage, and impedance in power transmission lines. The list of American engineers can go on and on. National Engineers Week is a great time to inspire young people with the hope that they will be the next generation of brilliant engineers. So be sure to keep an eye out for events in your area. Right in line with National Engineers Week is World Thinking Day on February 22nd. This is an annual celebration observed by Girl Scouts and Girl Guides, past and present, throughout the world. February 22nd was chosen because it is the birth date of both Robert Baden-Powell and his wife, Olive Baden-Powell, who are the founders of the Scouting Associations. The day is meant for Girl Guides and Girl Scouts to think about their sisters in other countries. They are given opportunities to study and appreciate other countries and cultures, and equally increase awareness and sensitivity on global concerns. Scouts from 146 countries participate. This year's theme is Connect. According to the Girl Scouts website, this year, Girl Scouts and Girl Guides will think about the connections that make life happier. This includes connecting with themselves on a personal level, with the idea that unless oneself is happy and confident, they will not be able to make a difference in the lives of others. Connecting with friends old and new, and finally connecting with the world and finding ways to make a difference. Girl Guide and Girl Scout units often have their own traditions associated with World Thinking Day. On this day, a unit from Auckland, New Zealand, climbs to the top of Mount Eden before dawn. They build a campfire and a flagstaff, and as the sun rises over the sea, they raise the Guide World flag, singing the world song. They speak about some of the people and the countries they are thinking about, and this kicks off World Thinking Day around the world. Scouts and guides, both former and current, place a candle in their window at dusk with the message that, "This is my guiding light, I'm going to let it shine." Mrs. Baden-Powell wrote, "Though you cannot visit sister guides in France or Finland, in Austria or Australia, in Italy or Iceland, Canada or Chile, Ghana or Guatemala, USA or UAR, you can reach out to them in their mind. So if you are or have been a Girl Scout or a Girl Guide, be sure to participate in this important day by thinking about how you can connect with others." Next up, this Wednesday, February 24th, is Regifugium, an ancient Roman observance. Regifugium refers to the king's flight. There are varying accounts as to which king's flight is commemorated on this day. Ancient Roman scholar Marcus Terentius Varro and poet Publius Ovidius Naso relate the observance to the flight of King Tarquinius Superbus from Rome, while Greek historian turned Roman citizen Plutarch affords the observance to the symbolic departure of the Rex Sacrorum position, which was an ancient Roman priest. I have been unable to find out how specifically this day is observed and what traditions or activities are associated with it. International Stand-Up to Bullying Day happens twice a year, the third Friday in November and the last Friday in February. As such, International Stand-Up to Bullying Day is this Friday, February 26th. This event first started in 2008 by high school students. Sadly, the Stand-Up to Bullying social media sites are defunct or several years out of date. Those participating in this event wear a pink pledge shirt to take a visible stance against bullying. In Canada, the CKNW Orphans Fund has started Pink Shirt Day with the same goal of putting an end to bullying. They will observe this day on Wednesday, February 24th. Ultimately, people around the world should stand up to bullying every day. Bullying is not a new issue, and it has lasting effects throughout a person's life. Here's a few facts. According to the National Education Association, 160,000 children miss school every day for fear of bullying, and 282,000 students are physically attacked in secondary schools each month. Bullying comes in many forms, including physical, verbal, and in the 21st century, cyberbullying. Bullying is rarely a one-time occurrence. Bullies target the same person or group time and time again. Too often, the victim of bullying will attempt suicide. You can start your own initiative to stand up to bullying at your school or workplace by getting others to agree to wear a pink shirt and stand up against bullying. To find out more about Pink Shirt Day in Canada, visit pinkshirtday.ca. Finally this week is International Polar Bear Day. It's celebrated every February 27th to raise awareness about the impact of global warming and reduced sea ice on polar bear populations. The event is organized by Polar Bears International. The group encourages individuals and groups to find ways to reduce their carbon footprint. Some ideas offered include adjusting your thermostat, which is known as the Thermostat Challenge. You can drive less and install energy-efficient insulation. In 2014, the University of Saskatchewan took the Thermostat Challenge, where they adjust their thermostat by 2 degrees in the summer and winter. Besides making a positive impact on the environment, these changes are expected to reduce the university's carbon emission by 2,000 tons and save the university over $200,000 a year. That's just a 2-degree adjustment on their thermostat. Many zoos use the day to educate the public about polar bear conservation and encourage visits to their polar bear exhibits. Polar bears are listed as vulnerable on the Red List of Endangered Species. There are about 20 to 25,000 polar bears left in the wild. Polar bears live in the Arctic and require sea ice for efficient hunting. Without the sea ice, polar bear numbers will continue to decline. Here are some interesting facts about polar bears. Polar bears live in the Arctic, mostly where there is annual sea ice and large seal populations. They live in 5 countries: U.S., in the state of Alaska, Canada, Russia, Greenland, and Norway. Polar bears do not live in Antarctica. While the U.S., Norway, Greenland, and Russia classify the polar bear as a marine mammal, Canada classifies it as a terrestrial animal. The average adult male polar bear weighs between 800 to 1,300 pounds. The female weighs 330 to 650 pounds. One of the largest polar bears on record weighed 1,700 pounds. Polar bears can survive in Arctic temperatures up to, or rather down to, 50 below zero because of 2 layers of fur and a thick layer of fat. Their small ears and tail prevent heat loss, and they sometimes get overheated when they run. Their feet are covered with small bumps called papillae, which keeps them from slipping on ice, and their claws are strong enough to carry a 200-pound seal. Seals are the primary source of the polar bear's diet, especially the seal fat. A polar bear will occasionally eat a walrus or a whale. In the wild, polar bears live on average 15 to 18 years, though some biologists have found some wild polar bears in their early 30s. In captivity, polar bears typically reach their mid-30s. One polar bear in captivity in Canada lived to be 42. Polar bears typically give birth to twins, and they are pretty cute. Cubs are born in November and December. Females typically have about 5 litters in their lifetime, and the cubs stay with the mother for about 2.5 years. Only pregnant females hibernate. They emerge from hibernation 3 months after giving birth. I've often heard that polar bears are left-pawed. According to the Polar Bears International website, this is a myth. Scientists have observed that polar bears use their left and right paws equally. And I think now polar bears are my new favorite animal. Visit the Polar Bears International website at polarbearsinternational.org to sign the petition asking for a fair price on carbon, and to find out more about the thermostat challenge and other ways that you can participate in International Polar Bear Day. February is also American Heart Month. Every year, the president declares February as American Heart Month in order to raise awareness for the problem of heart and blood vessel diseases. This annual observance began with Lyndon B. Johnson in 1964. Heart disease affects people of all races and ethnicities and is the single leading cause of death for both men and women in the U.S., causing 1 in 3 deaths. That accounts for about 2,200 deaths per day. Heart disease can lead to stroke, heart attack, venous thromboembolism, atrial fibrillation, and other cardiovascular conditions. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes are common risk factors that lead to heart disease. An unhealthy diet, physical inactivity, obesity, high alcohol consumption, and tobacco use also contribute to heart disease. These are all factors that you can control or regulate in order to lower your chances of getting cardiovascular disease. Family history and genetics can also be a contributing factor, but they cannot be controlled. Manage your blood pressure and cholesterol, and if you have diabetes, follow your doctor's recommendations on healthy living. Quit smoking and limit alcohol use, eat healthy and maintain a healthy weight, and stay active. These are all positive steps you can take to lower your risk of heart disease. Start with just one. Use American Heart Month to do it. You can take part in American Heart Month in several ways. A very important way is to check your own risk factors, visit your doctor for a checkup, and take those steps to decrease your chances of a heart attack and cardiovascular disease. And encourage your friends and family to do the same. You can assess your own risk factors and learn more about control, prevention, and warning signs by visiting the American Heart Association website at heart.org. There's also a wealth of information on the CDC website at cdc.gov. So that's it for this week. Thanks for listening. I'll be back next week. Until then, remember to make each day count.